We're looking at data, statistical information, and this video is going to focus on interpreting graphs and tables. So before I begin, I just want to cover what a common word that you'll come across in these type of questions is, and that word's variable. So a variable is something we measure or collect data on. So examples usually include amount of rain, color of cars, number of students. These are all variables. You'll see it very commonly when you're doing a science practical. So when we're collecting data, there's different types of data. Now, there's two main categories. The first of that is called numerical data. Now, numerical data, as the name suggests, is number-based information. Now, numerical data can break off into two different types. All right. So you have discrete numerical data. Now, this is whole number information. So this includes number of students in a class or a school, houses in a town or a city, things where you can't have halves, quarters. It has to be a whole number. All right. The next thing that numerical data splits off into is what we call continuous numerical data. Now, this includes decimals. So you could have halves in here, you could have quarters, you can have 0.34. Now, continuous data usually involves measurements. So these examples could include 0.36 milligrams, 2.48 liters, 64.92 kilograms, all right? Lots of decimal numbers in there. Now, the other main type of data, we're moving away from numerical data now, we're looking at categorical data. Now, this includes data that can be broken into categories. So, color, all right, the types of colors of cars, or gender, brands, etc. What was the most selling pair of sunglasses in the store? And then they have brands, all right? That's all categorical. Now, when you've collected the data, there's a lot of different ways we can represent it or show it. Usually we show it in graphs or tables. Usually you start with a table and then you can convert that into different types of graphs. So tables are the first thing you usually do. Now, on your screen there's three different types there. We've got column graphs, pie charts, line graphs. You should be somewhat familiar with some of them. But I'm going to do an example here, what you might see. So we on the screen has a column graph there of sports played by students. So if I zoom in, so I can write, you can usually get a lot of questions like, what's the most played sport? So then you would go over to the graph, you'd have a look at it, and you'd say, well, it's that orange color. You look over at the key. Now the key is this over here. This over here is what we call the key, all right? And it just tells us what each color represents. So for A, what is the most played sport? We would say soccer is the most played sport. The next thing we're looking at, what is the difference between football and ice hockey? Now remember, the word difference just means subtraction essentially. So we go, well, football and ice hockey, football. Now I want to know how many we have. You go over here and you read the number here. If you can have a look right there. Okay, so football is 3. And then we have ice hockey, so we go right down to ice hockey, read across to here. And then you can see ice hockey was 1, so 3 take away 1 is 2. So the difference between football and ice hockey is 2. The next one is how many students in each class. So this time we need to do that for all of our columns. So if I'm going to go across and write them above it. So there was 3 for football, there was 2 for swimming, there was 5 for soccer, 1 for ice hockey, and 4 for baseball. So the total is going to be 3 plus 2 plus 1 plus 5 plus 4. Is that it? Yes. You add them all up. So there's 15 students in this class.